Riposte alimentaire.
Riposte alimentaire.
Riposte alimentaire.
Riposte alimentaire.
Riposte alimentaire.
Hello, my name is Sarah. I'm a small artist and I'm definitely not wearing a wig right now. This is Justice for Artists. Acts of protest come in many shapes and sizes. The goal of them is to capture attention that is then redirected to a cause that they're supporting. Hence why major ones tend to be shocking and maybe dramatic and very unique. Sometimes even a little disrespectful, but with a deeper meaning to it. Today we're talking about the French climate change protest activist group, Riposte Alimentaire. I hope you cannot see the spit that came out of my mouth when I said that. You've likely seen this gem, maybe this video, maybe even this one. Probably not this one. Could be wrong. So what do all of these have in common? Well, they were all protest demonstrations that were orchestrated and executed by the same group of people. Most of the information that I found on this topic was all in French, so I relied pretty heavily on Google Translate for a lot of this video. The explanation of Dernière Rénovation and the movement behind its rebranding are translated both from the organization website and from the Wikipedia. Some portions are summarized and reworded to make a little bit more sense in English. Other ones are just direct quotes from what the text translated to. Riposte Alimentaire is a French civil resilience group protesting climate change and instead looking towards energy renovation. They're included in the 11 International A22 Resistance Collective and were founded under the name Dernière Rénovation in 2022. Following a similar yet different campaign. Dernière Rénovation adopted their new name in January of 2024 as they attended the 2024 Farmers' Movement in France. This movement involved a series of demonstrations and road blockages organized by non-union farmers and agricultural unions since January 16th of 2024. At this point, the protest was being put in motion due to a drop in income for farmers. This is a direct quote. An increase in costs, the unfair competition allowed by free trade agreements, the stacking of standards resulting in overly complex regulations, taxation, certain aspects of European regulations on agriculture, and controls by the French administration. They're asking the government for concrete and rapid measures. Riposte Alimentaire definitely knows how to capture people's attention and for a good cause. But there's a big debate on whether or not all of these demonstrations are ethical. Their most famous demonstration was when two members of the group threw pumpkin soup all over the Mona Lisa. Now, luckily, this was protected by a sheet of bulletproof glass because people have already tried to do damage to the Mona Lisa before and steal it. People have tried, not that somebody actually stole it. About the Mona Lisa on Wikipedia. The painting was protected by glass because a few years earlier, a man who claimed to be in love with the painting had cut it with a razor blade and tried to steal it. Since then, bulletproof glass has been used to shield the painting from any further attacks. Subsequently, on the 21st of April, 1974, while the painting was on display at the Tokyo National Museum, a woman sprayed it with red paint as a protest against that museum's failure to provide access for disabled people. On August 2nd, 2009, a Russian woman, distraught over being denied French citizenship, threw a ceramic teacup purchased at the Louvre. The vessel shattered against the glass enclosure. In both cases, the painting was undamaged. On the 29th of May, 2022, a male activist disguised as a woman in a wheelchair threw cake at the protective glass covering the painting in an apparent attempt to raise awareness for climate change. The painting was not damaged. The man was arrested and placed in psychiatric care in the police headquarters. An investigation was opened after the Louvre filed a complaint. On the 28th of January 2024, two attackers from the environmentalist group Riposte Alimentaire threw soup at the painting's protective glass, demanding the right to healthy and sustainable food and criticizing the contemporary state of agriculture. They've also postered over Monet's poppy field, flung soup at Monet's spring, thrown orange powder all over Versailles' Hall of Mirrors, placed stickers on the wall surrounding Delacroix's Liberty Leading the People, and many more acts. This video reflects my opinions regarding the topic. All of this information is alleged and obtained over the internet, so take everything with a grain of salt. I'm a stranger on the internet. I'm not accusing anybody of anything. I'm simply providing commentary based on this information that is publicly available. My camera died. Now we're going to dive into the official website. On the official website, they give a synopsis of what their mission is and what their cause is, what they're trying to do there. I translated all of that, and for the most part, this translation is verbatim. There are a couple words where I was like, doesn't exactly make sense, so I changed it a little bit, but it's okay. What we do in the next 2 or 3 years will largely determine the fate of humanity. We know the IPCC said it, and other scientists, Sir David King, if we don't really start acting now, then in a few hundred days, our collective future will no longer be in our hands. It will depend on climate phenomena over which we will no longer have any control, and which will destroy billions of lives and forever upset those in the next generations. Unfortunately, we cannot count on our government to save us from the announced disaster. Declared outlawed by its own courts, it is now up to us, ordinary citizens, to enforce the commitments to which the state refuses to comply. The staircase looks huge from below, but for that, we have a plan. Our strategy is to be inspired by a struggle that has profoundly transformed our society. That of the people who have organized their own conditions of existence and have succeeded in imposing them on political power. The struggle for social security. Like those who fought for us to have access to care today, we will fight for everyone to have access to healthy food soon. The sustainable food social security will respond to the food insecurity that affects so many people in France by allowing everyone to eat healthy products to their heart's content. This system will promote agriculture that respects planetary limits and living conditions worthy of peasants, and will reduce our carbon footprint through enlightened democratic choice. One thing remains to be known. When marches, legal actions, scientific alerts, reports, symbolic actions are not enough, when environmental, anti-racist, or pension mobilizations are violently repressed, how can we get a victory? Given the scale of the work, we must oblige the state to use the institutions to establish sustainable food social security. Asking nicely is not enough. We have to create a constraint. Nonviolent civil resistance, whose effectiveness has been proven for so many social movements in history. This is our last chance. If not you, who else? If not now, when? That just gives you an idea from the source themselves what they're trying to accomplish, what their goal is, what their stance is. And then real quick, this is a look at their website where we see the phrase translates to bring about a just and livable world, enter into civil resistance with Riposte Alimentaire. You see there are 197 actions committed, 1,173 citizens in action, and 16,232 social media mentions. In the demonstration where they're throwing soup on the Mona Lisa, one of the phrases that they say is, "What's more important, art or the right to have a healthy and sustainable food system? Our agricultural system is sick." And then they were arrested. A climate activist for the group Riposte Alimentaire has been arrested after gluing a poster onto a masterpiece by Monet. This protest is the latest in a slew of actions claimed by Riposte Alimentaire that took place at high-profile cultural institutions designed to call attention to the climate crisis. The morals behind their cause, I support 100%. Feeling the need to protest and stand up for something that you're passionate about, I respect 100%. However, when I think of civil resistance, I think more of a victimless crime where no harm is done. In these instances, not only is physical damage done to important relics of history that have been preserved and appreciated for decades, if not centuries, stinky, but it inflicts emotional damage But it inflicts emotional damage on people who felt very attached to that art, or perhaps a family member who felt connected to their ancestor when they saw the original painting. Looking at a piece of art is looking at every brushstroke or chisel or stitch or sculpt it took. And when you know historical significance behind it, you can imagine you're right there with the artist as they worked on that piece. You can pay attention to their use of color, style, and medium, and appreciate that it's existed for so long. It's good that we have the technology now that can assist in repairing old paintings, but it can't solve everything. Thankfully, it seems that all paintings that were damaged through these demonstrations were able to be fully restored. The thin line that is difficult for me to kind of determine is that of drive and passion, but then malicious intent in a different category. Again, this is not an accusation, this is something I'm gonna break down. I think they are doing amazing things for themselves and their community. I just wish they could have gotten the same attention to the subject that's a bit less destructive of famous pieces of art. Because even if they're dead, that's an attack on the artist.
And lastly, we got a big stretch for you. Are you ready? Ooh, good stretch. Good job.
Bye!